On this hunt, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone and leaving North America. As a Canadian, though, I'm sort of stepping right back into my comfort zone by stepping into the boreal forests of Siberia at Medved-Taiga National Park. Since North America and Asia used to be connected by the Bering Land Bridge, a number of animal and plant species were able to colonize both continents and are distributed throughout the taiga biome, among them reindeer, or Eurasian caribou. Caribou and reindeer are the same species, but with over 2,000 years of domestication in Eurasia, reindeer is used as a blanket name that includes both the domesticated and wild populations there. Their evolution has produced specialized features for their survival in this biome. Besides large, wide hooves that provide traction and can act as snowshoes in the deep snow, they have specialized noses that warm up the air they breathe before it enters their lungs. The water that condenses from this process helps to keep their mucous membranes moist. The only member of the deer family where females also have antlers, males have the largest of any deer species in proportion to their bodies. They use them to attract mates, regulate their temperature, and even dig in the snow and soil to find food. I've come a long way for this hunt, and I'm hoping to find a beast of a reindeer. And I've bundled up to stave off hypothermia in this most unforgiving of landscapes. After the tundra and permanent ice caps, taiga is the terrestrial biome with the lowest annual average temperatures, with the mean annual temperature generally varying from -5 to 5 degrees Celsius, or 23 to 41 degrees Fahrenheit. And that doesn't factor in the cruelty of the wind chill in some of the more barren areas. I intend to only go out to hunt for a couple of hours at a time, and I've packed some sub-zero gear, including a tent in my pack, just in case. I plan to also try to stay on the move, relatively speaking, and only spot and stalk on this trip. Sitting still just invites trouble from the cold. Heading through this drunken forest to the wintry muskeg region beyond, I take a moment to marvel at the wonders so many of us miss that already occur naturally all around us. Our busy digital lives keep many of us unaware of these unexpected landscapes, which in northern subarctic taiga forests are a rather banal occurrence. When ice-rich permafrost thaws cyclically, nearby trees which have adapted wide, shallow root systems hold on to what little soil is available above that permafrost table. They end up bowing toward the sagging ground surface depressions and take on a tilt at a variety of angles. No sooner do I drift out of the Tim Burton-esque feel of the drunken forest than I arrive at the mostly frozen muskeg region and find a lone reindeer bull questioning what he's detected of me from the sheet of ice he's made his domain. Thankfully, although it's a miss, it's a very clean miss, and this bull gets away completely unscathed. Unfortunately, it would seem this extreme cold weather is already starting to affect my motor skills, and what would have normally been a relatively easy shot is well off the mark and drops beneath him. The skies become increasingly overcast just after midday, and though the sun is at its highest point, it's largely blocked out, and the temperature begins to dip. I make my way to a nearby abandoned fishing village to warm myself by a fire and enjoy a packed lunch before striking back out. With the wind having calmed a bit, and the sun peeking out from time to time, I continue through patches of drunken forest and pockets of frozen muskeg in search of reindeer. They seem to be traveling, and I spot one going through the trees that doesn't seem to notice me. I sit quietly as he passes, given that he's not nearly as big as the one I hope to find. After a good deal of scouting and discovering nothing but a lone musk deer feeding, I move on. Arriving finally at a small frozen lake, surrounded by some reindeer sign. I hunker down in a small cluster of trees and bushes, hoping to see the herds that left the clues return. When some begin doing just that, it's a small harem of cows with a modest bull commanding their movements. Excited by the prospect that the sign I found might bring more groups like this, I move up to another cluster of cover that offers a better vantage of a larger swath of the lake. Okay, so that's the same group. And that's another group. I don't know if he's that much bigger though. I might have to get a closer look. Before I can even begin to really strategize, I hear hooves crunching snow close by. It sounds as though they're congregating beyond the brush before me, so I start slowly flanking around to the southeast. Then, just as the sun begins tickling the mountaintops to the west, he and his harem are practically within spitting distance, and I get a full look at him for the first time. He's magnificent, but turns abruptly, and there's no clean shot to be had. I reverse my flanking maneuver and move back around to the southwest, and though he proudly faces me for a moment once I emerge, there's no time to shoulder a rifle before I'm winded and he disappears. My disappointment is greatly overshadowed by the exhilaration of knowing he's out there. The plan is to head back to camp and go to bed. Sleep in even, and camp that area again tomorrow beginning in the late afternoon, from a distance that keeps me hidden from all his senses. Hopefully, he visits that same place tomorrow when I hope that we'll meet again. The next day is beautiful on the reserve, and I leisurely make my way to the frozen lake where I saw Raphael. I named him after the Ninja Turtle armed with twin sais because of the two long tines coming off the back curves of his antlers. It was just the first thing that popped into my head. I'm taking the quad there today to keep nearby because after having observed the number of reindeer groups that congregate there, I have every reason to expect that I'll be packing something out, whether Raphael shows up or not. Although, he's what I'm hoping for. To protect me from the cold and the wind, I'm setting up an impromptu camp well east of yesterday's serendipitous meeting and quite outside of his senses. There, I'll wait for him to lead his harem back to their evening feeding grounds. As the sun drops, my adrenaline begins to rush, and every little flap of the tent and branches knocked around by the wind alerts me, and I keep suspecting something of being behind me. Then, I do spot a reindeer, and even though he seems to be on an approach vector towards Raphael's spot, it's definitely not him. The other reindeer does eventually settle into Raphael's spot, making me wonder if perhaps he won't be returning this evening. Thinking that I'm still hearing noise behind me, I make my way around to have a look, and lo and behold, Raphael has actually snuck up behind me. The twin size on the back curves of his antlers leave no doubt. That's him. Man, I've been waiting all day on you, buddy. After a long afternoon of waiting, I have to work fast, even by torchlight, so that I can get Raphael and my tent packed up to head back to camp. The brutality of this landscape is matched only by its beauty, and I'm sure I'll return here someday to hunt again. For now, I'm excited to get back to my family and celebrate the holidays with them. Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote, "We are better throughout the year for having, in spirit, become a child again at Christmas time." I hope you all act in the spirit of a child this time of year and get to spend it with the people that matter to you most. Merry Christmas, everyone.